Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Darcy, this Section 1046 of WRDA, very important to our western states, required the investigation of how you can modify your operations and work with local agencies on improving the water supply opportunities at our dams. And can you give us a status of the implementation of that section, and what are the Corps doing to help the western states, along with the water agencies, respond to the heavy drought we are now facing?
That implementation guidance is still underway. It is not completed as yet. But some of the things that the Corps is doing in order to help in some of the drought-stricken areas in the West is we are responding to deviation requests. We've done that in for three places in California: Coyote, Whittier Narrows, and Prado Dam. What that means is we've had a request to deviate from our usual operating control manual in order to respond to drought conditions. These have drought contingency plans, these reservoirs, and so at a deviation request, we would look to moving off of our usual controls to respond to the drought.
Well, that kind of lends into the fact that both Whittier and Prado are giving funds to the Corps. From outside agencies to be able to spur that. Would that help other agencies if they were able to help by providing some funding?
I can't say for certain, but I would assume that it would help if
that's something we might want to look at. And Ms. Darcy, you know, I've been for years looking at the equity of the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund, and for the ports, the heavy users, LA and Long Beach. We continue to pay $220 million, and they receive approximately $1 million a year in return. This has been an ongoing issue, a debate on this, and of course, WRDA Section 2102 provided a little more equity to donor ports with expanded use options. Is the administration committed to implementing the funds for distribution as spelled out in WRDA?
Well, the administration has allocated some funds into the 15 work plan and the 16 budget, and in line with several of the provisions of 2124 of WRDA. For example, emerging harbors and Great Lakes each received, Great Lakes received a 12% from the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund. Emerging harbors received 10% from the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund in the 16 budget proposal.
Okay, but the distribution to the LA and Long Beach, they sort of kind of expected about $1.7 million, and they received zero?
That's correct. In the competition within the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund for which ports are in most need of the resources, it was not didn't compete as well as some of the other ports.
Well, I thought the idea was to have parity in the donors from the donor ports rather than competition for prioritization.
The way we budget for the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund is what needs there are for dredging in particular ports, and the needed dredging in LA Long Beach was not as
so then WRDA would not apply. The law does not apply.
Congresswoman, the law gives guidance to us as to how to budget through the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund, and through the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund, we do budget on a performance-based and need and what harbors are in most need of those resources.
Okay. Well, we certainly would love to be able to have a better equity in this, because as the ports need, those two ports, which are some of the major ports in the U.S., some assistance to be able to use the expanded use option, then I would hope that we continue to look at it, and I don't see anything in the budget. The other question I have, Secretary, is can you speak to the successes of the Veterans Curation Program? I understand you've helped at least 200. What skills do they learn? And, of course, in the 111th Congress, the House passed by a voice vote H.R. 5282 to provide funds to support the program. Could similar legislation be able to be implemented to help our veterans?
I'm not familiar with the particulars of that legislation, Congresswoman, but this program we started in 2009, our Veterans Curation Program, in response to two needs: a need for our veterans to have some tangible skills when they return that they can market in the job market when they return, and also a need for the Army Corps of Engineers to catalog our archaeological finds. It's a responsibility that we have whenever we do a project. And we have had more than 200 veterans be trained through our programs. We have a program in St. Louis, one in Augusta, Georgia, and one in Arlington, Virginia. And the skills that they learn range from digitization to photography skills, cataloging skills, and I'm very proud to report that about 89% of those who have been trained have gone on to either advanced degrees in college or jobs either in the private sector or in the federal government.
Okay, thank you. The bill, of course, was a straight authorization, $5 million annually. It did not pass in the Senate, didn't get heard. So we hope maybe we can revive that and be able to help not only our veterans but the Corps. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence.